Hey guys, welcome to another video. Have you ever been driving and your mind has just totally wandered, and before you know it, you've realised where you are and you've just thought, how on earth have I got here? I've probably stopped at junctions, I've probably gone round roundabouts, I've been responsive to traffic lights, yet you have almost been totally unaware and your mind's been somewhere else. We can literally be doing that for the majority of our days. And the thing is, this is what can cause real kind of like stress and anxiousness within our minds, because the mind can actually only ever think in the past and in the future. Your mind is either constantly thinking about things that have happened, or it's constantly thinking about things that could happen or are going to happen in the future. Your mind doesn't naturally think in the present moment. And it's strange because the present moment is actually all we ever have, right? You don't ever live in the future. When it comes to that point, you're in the present moment again, and you never live in the past. The past is the past when it's the present, you know? So you are only ever living in the present moment, and we truly need to take advantage of that present moment, because that is actually where things are more stress-free. It's where problems and worries can actually just be totally left in that moment. And so that's why I want to give 5 ways to help you get into the present moment. So number 1, set a reminder on your phone to focus and be present. I have this on my phone and it's actually great because the reminder just pops up and I'm suddenly like, oh yeah. And I suddenly just take in everything around me. I just take a little moment and I'm like, where am I? You know, what am I doing? Who am I surrounded with? How am I feeling? You know, and I just take a moment to really hone in on that moment and just be grateful for a moment of kind of being alive, really, and being able to be in the position that I'm in. Even if you find yourself in a stressful situation, your mind is thinking about that stressful situation. So just try and let that go for a minute. Let go of the stressful situation that you're thinking of and just hone in on your body and where you are in relation to everything around you, and just really feel for a moment your intense presence within that moment. Number 2, go for a walk and put your phone away and just really take in everything around you. Parks, nature, trees, everything like that. That is Mother Nature, and that is just so peaceful when you can actually look at it. You know, we walk past trees all the time, you know, you're just walking down the street and again, your mind is just elsewhere. If you're walking in a park and your phone is away in your pocket and you look at a tree and you can just consciously be present, really looking at that tree, how big it is, maybe the animals flying within it, maybe how small it is, the autumn leaves, just everything that is so amazing, but that we just take for granted or don't even really think about. You know, so it's just about really taking in those moments and appreciating them a lot more. And you start to really feel more of a connection with you and you in that moment and you within your surroundings. I just want to jump in here quickly and say, I know some of these things can be like,
looking at trees, setting a reminder on my phone to be present.
But I just want to stress how many of us feel anxious, feel stressed with things that have happened in the past, with things that are going on in the future. You know, our minds are constantly thinking. They are on autopilot. And you know what? Sometimes I actually woke up this morning and I was lying there, all my shoulders were hunched up, I was really just like, and I woke up and I was immediately thinking, I was thinking about stuff, and you know what, I caught myself and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, look at me, I'm literally hunched up like this, all tense, and my mind has just gone on an absolute whirlwind of things and I haven't even moved out of bed yet. So you know when you just think, I'm now gonna consciously just let all that go. I'm now in the present moment, and it's not that you have to think about not thinking of anything, because when you think about not thinking, you're thinking. Does that make sense? And it's kind of like if I said don't think of a blue car, I can guarantee you've just thought of a blue car, haven't you? Because in order to not think of a blue car, your mind has to think of a blue car to interpret what you're saying. So when you're thinking, try not to think, I can't think, I mustn't think about what I'm having for dinner. Oh no, I'm thinking, oh no, I'm trying not to think, because you're actually just trying, do you know what I mean? You're thinking about thinking, and it's quite strange. So if you can actually just release the idea of thoughts and go into feeling, and just like in that moment this morning, I was just like, I'm in bed. Actually, it's a Sunday morning. And I just then went into how I really felt, and just me in a cozy bed. Like, it was a lot more about the feeling and not thinking about that thought pattern that had just gone wild. So yeah, that basically is why the present moment is so important. And you may be listening to these things thinking again like, oh, yawn, but really, isn't it amazing that actually it can be so simple to get into the present moment? But all we have to do is just be more aware. Let's stop letting our minds go wild in all these different scenarios that don't help us at all. You know, we need to start almost thinking every day, how can I be present every day? And it's probably not going to be like every single moment of every day, but how can I make sure that at least twice, 3 times, if possible, you have made sure that you've actually not let your mind run away in the past or run away in the future, and that you can actually just bring yourself to this present moment, because your thoughts actually can't live in the present moment. Because when you're truly present, your mind, it can't do both. And being present isn't natural for the mind. You know, your mind needs to be thinking of things, and that's why it lives in the past and in the future, because it's kind of what it knows. It's its default to do that. So number 3 is sitting in silence, just really feeling your body. Now, if you sat there kind of, you know, for a moment and closed your eyes, and then I said, how do you feel? You might then your brain will then start thinking, I guarantee it, you'll start thinking, oh, how do I feel? Well, actually, I'm quite hungry. And, oh, now actually, I need to think of what I'm going to do for dinner tonight. And, oh, well, actually, this person just pissed me off. So I'm feeling quite frustrated about that. Do you know what I mean? It's already going off on one. So instead of saying, how do you feel? Go more into, what do you feel? And by asking that, you're starting to look inwards in your inner body. So if you can just sit there and just think about what is kind of going on within you and what you can feel. And if you even just close your eyes for a moment and you just kind of think about your left hand, and without even looking at your left hand, you get a real feeling that it's there. You can sense it, and it's kind of a sort of tingly sort of feeling. And that is who you are. That is energy. That is you. And we're so out of touch with that when our mind is constantly thinking this and constantly thinking that and worrying about this and what am I going to do about that? You know, everything that goes on inside is just automatic. And when we start honing in and really feeling how we feel, you get a whole different sense of yourself, and that you are actually not your thoughts.
You are not your thoughts.
So what you feel is a completely different sense. It's your real sense of being. Number 4. Now this one is kind of may contradict what I just said in other previous points, but this is quite a funny one. Eckhart Tolle talks about this in his Power of Now, but it's waiting for your next thought. Just try it now. Trying to wait for your next thought. Just try it with me. It's really strange, right? Like, you can't actually think of your next thought because you're waiting, and something is quite magic in that, because like I said, your mind is just constantly thinking. It goes on autopilot, and that just proves, doesn't it, that once you become the observer and you start observing what is my next thought going to be, you don't know. It's not happening, because you are present and you are aware of what's going on. So your mind it's not on autopilot. It's not just coming up with all this and all that and all this and all that, you know? So again, by just stopping and trying to think of your next thought, you come into this very magical place of just presence and just stillness. And it's amazing. And number 5 is just listen to the things around you, because we can be so aware of some noises, like if a massive bang happens and that catches your attention, right? But there can be so many different sounds that actually your brain filters out. So by just thinking, what can I hear around me? You start becoming really aware of sounds around you, like maybe little hums right in the background. You maybe like a little ticking noise, maybe, and just all the different sounds around you suddenly become really amplified, and you just become really kind of present and engrossed in that moment. So let me know how some of these go for you. Please try them, because honestly, being in the present moment is one of the best things that we can possibly do for ourselves. You're giving yourself a huge mental break. Our minds need to be stopped on autopilot, you know? They need to stop just going absolutely wild. And the only way that you can stop your mind going off in directions that you really don't want it to go is by becoming present. Because the present moment, the mind can't actually survive. It's not natural for your mind to do that. But it's within you, it's your being, your real sense of self that can be present. And you can choose that at any time. But you just have to commit to trying to find that. So thank you for watching, and take care. Bye.